Hello everyone, it's nice to be with you again. In this video, I will talk about how to design communicative activities and give examples, because as you will notice, whenever we design a communicative activity, the activity itself becomes like a game. Communicative activities are the ones that have real purposes or resemble real life situations to exchange information, socialize, express opinions, persuade or convince someone, and all the other functions that you can think of that we carry out when we use language, that we use language to communicate for or interact for. In real life, we do not ask questions if we already know the answers. If we do, then there must be another underlying reason or hidden message. For example, if all participants of an interaction can see the time, can see the clock, no one asks what time it is. If someone does, do you know what time it is? That may mean, depending on the tone, intonation of the sentence, you're late and I'm not happy about it. Or, it's time to do whatever we have planned before. Or, we don't have too much time left to do what we need to do, etc. So there are hidden messages, if you can read between the lines, when people use questions that they already know answers for. So in the classroom, if a teacher shows a clock, everyone can see, and says, "What time is it?" It is not communicative. There is no information missing. Everyone can see the time. For example, showing this clock and asking, "What's the time? What time is it?" We can change it into a communicative activity if we can change it into a game. How about doing it like a memory game? How about showing this clock only for 1 second and then hiding it and saying, "What's the time? What time is it?" Now it is communicative. It is a game, in fact. So you can see how communicative activities do, in fact, carry the features of being a game because they're fun, because they're real, okay? Most people think that communicative activities are speaking activities. Well, we can have communicative activities in all language skills. And it is also a fact that in real life, we rarely use only one skill for communication. Usually, if there's a speaker, hopefully there is also a listener. Even when you're engaged in a monologue, when you're talking to yourself, you listen to yourself, right? Well, when we write, for example, hopefully there is a reader to read that message. If I leave a message on the fridge saying, "Don't touch the cake, that's for the guests," I hope my daughters read the note and don't eat the cake, right? Well, you may say, "Wow, what if I keep a diary?" Well, even when you keep a diary, you read what you have written yourself. So, as you can see, skills are integrated, and it is very hard to say speaking activities are communicative. No, in fact, communicative activities can be used in all skills. Communicative teaching usually contains activities and tasks rather than exercises. Now, what is the difference between an exercise and an activity and a task. Let's very quickly revise that information. Now, an exercise is guided or controlled, and the reason, the aim of that exercise is to practice a particular language piece, and there is usually one expected or correct answer. In an activity, learners work towards a goal. There may be more than one correct answer, so they are less guided and less controlled. A task, on the other hand, is done by students with a particular reason, purpose in mind. The outcome may or may not be language oriented. It involves a context based on a problem, challenge, or scenario. Okay? For any activity or task to be communicative, to be classified as communicative, there should be either information gap, or opinion gap, or reasoning gap. The last one is also known as problem solving. You can also have a combination of all these gaps. If you can add one of these to an activity, it will automatically become communicative. What is information gap? An information gap task is a technique in which learners are missing the needed information to complete a task or solve a problem, and they have to communicate with others to get that missing information piece. For example, student A knows the price of a sweatshirt, but student B doesn't. And student B has to decide whether to buy the sweatshirt or not, depending on the price of it. So, student B needs to ask the question of student A to get the price, learn the price, and decide whether they will buy the sweatshirt or not. An opinion gap task requires the learners to give their own personal preference, feeling, or attitude to complete a task. For example, a small group of students need to decide on which movie they want to go together. They may have a comedy, an action movie, a horror movie, an animated movie, etc., etc. They need to sit down, decide on one of the movies that they can all enjoy. So they will share their opinion, they will share their preference. Oh, I don't like horror movies. Oh, I love action movies. That kind of interaction will take place. A reasoning gap task refers to the new information that are derived by the students through inference, deduction, practical reasoning, or perception of relationships or patterns. These are also known, as I've said before, also known as problem-solving activities. For example, your team has been stranded in the classroom. The doors and windows are all locked. You cannot break them, and you cannot leave the classroom. You have 30 minutes to decide on 10 items that you need to survive in this classroom for 5 days. Then rank these 10 items in order of importance. Now, the goal of the game is to have everyone agree on the 10 items and the order, the ranking in 30 minutes. Okay? In this communication environment, students will need to persuade each other, convince each other. They need to sell their opinion. They need to come up with a reason, a good reason to back up their decision, so that they can change the answers of the others. Well, you may say, what if they speak their native language in this process? Well, if you walk around the classroom continuously, and if you do not follow a particular route, so if you change your route continuously, they need to speak in English. Well, even if they don't forget that the outcome is going to be in English. So it's natural, it's okay for them to switch to their native language if they do not know the sufficient language to discuss this. It is only natural for them to switch to Turkish. As you have noticed, all these tasks and activities require either pair work or group work. This group can be a small group or a big group. This kind of peer interaction increases cooperation and collaboration and the interaction between students. So teacher talk time is decreased and student talk time is increased, okay? And they are more engaged, they are active, they are not passively sitting, they are doing something. Well, that's all for this video. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel for more videos. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye.